Good evening, everybody, and welcome back once again to Maximus the Fourth. Boy, do I have a fun one for you guys today. What we have here, to you guys' left, is an original bottle of Pepsi Vanilla. And then what I have here, to your guys' right, is the rarest version of Pepsi Vanilla to ever be released on Earth. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the ultra rare Pepsi ice cream. The title of today's video is going to be Why is Pepsi ice cream actually sweeter than Pepsi Vanilla? To give you a quick rundown on both of these, the original Pepsi Vanilla was first released in the States in 2003, and it lasted up until 2008, and then it was discontinued. But along the way, in 2005, Pepsi ice cream was released only in Russia, starting in 2005, and then it was discontinued in 2008. Pepsi ice cream is Pepsi Vanilla, but just simply under a different name. And right up there at the very rim of the can is the tagline, which is in Russian, and that reads vanilla ice cream flavor. Now, because Pepsi ice cream is so insanely rare, there's very little that's known about it, other than it being Pepsi Vanilla under a different name. It has been said on the internet that it is actually a sweeter tasting version of Pepsi Vanilla. This fact can be found on the Soda Fandom Wikipedia website. But other than that, it could be a rumor. So today, we're going to scan the ingredients of both Pepsi Vanilla and Pepsi ice cream, and I'm going to unlock and unveil the truth. And we're going to find out if Pepsi ice cream actually is sweeter, or if it's just a lie that's on the internet. And we're going to find out exactly what's in both of these and seeing why Pepsi ice cream is actually sweeter, if it actually is. Starting first with Pepsi Vanilla, carbonated water, high fructose corn syrup and or sugar, caramel color, natural and artificial flavor, phosphoric acid, potassium benzoate, which preserves the freshness, potassium citrate, citric acid, caffeine, vanilla extract, ascorbic acid, and calcium disodium EDTA to protect the flavor. Now, just a quick mention of the re-release Pepsi Vanilla that happened in the States in 2019 up until 2025 is now discontinued. There is a bit of a difference between the original Pepsi Vanilla. If you were to compare the ingredients, there is no vanilla extract in the modern day Pepsi Vanilla. And also on the tagline of the original, it says smooth vanilla cola. So that's what sets the two of these apart. And this one is sweeter, in my opinion. I've tried it before. But they're both phenomenal. 10 out of 10s. Easy. Now that we have that out of the way, here is the official ingredients of Pepsi ice cream. Purified drinking water, sugars, carbon dioxide, acidity regulators, natural Pepsi flavor, and artificial vanilla flavor. Now we're going to take a look at the ingredients side by side. Pepsi Vanilla, carbonated water, Pepsi ice cream, purified drinking water, which the purified drinking water in Pepsi ice cream is probably just the carbonated water. They just used a different name. Pepsi Vanilla, high fructose corn syrup and or sugar, Pepsi ice cream, sugar. Very similar there. Pepsi Vanilla, caramel color, Pepsi ice cream, carbon dioxide. which in most regular dark colas, there is caramel color in it. And if it's not on the ingredients, it's not a super critical ingredient as it is. And carbon dioxide is in every single soda that exists. So those two ingredients are pretty worthless as it is. They can cancel each other out. Pepsi Vanilla, natural and artificial flavor. Pepsi Ice Cream, acidity regulators, which natural and artificial flavor in Pepsi Vanilla. And then the acidity regulators, all that is the acidity regulators, they help control the taste of the soda overall, the texture of it. Overall, it just keeps the soda to come out fresh and protects it from being bad. So, same thing there. Pepsi Vanilla at number 5, phosphoric acid. And Pepsi Ice Cream at number 5, natural Pepsi flavor, which phosphoric acid, it basically just has to do with some of the syrup that they use in here. And then the natural Pepsi flavor is probably the syrup as well. So nothing fancy there. Pepsi Vanilla, we got potassium benzoate, which that's just a preservative. So not a huge thing there. And then here's where it starts to get very interesting. Pepsi Ice Cream has artificial vanilla flavor. Let's circle that now. Pepsi Vanilla goes on to have potassium citrate, citric acid, and caffeine, which you commonly see potassium citrate and citric acid in quite a bit of sodas. It just depends on the preservatives that they want to use, but they just so happen to choose those in this. And the caffeine that's in this, I don't think there's any caffeine in Pepsi Ice Cream. So there's the first difference. Not super critical. Although the caffeine in this probably in some small way could have offset the vanilla flavoring very minorly. But this was very good. So it's a small idea, but probably not the main issue. And now, here we come across vanilla extract in Pepsi Vanilla. That is now very critical. We're going to go ahead and circle the vanilla extract. And then Pepsi Vanilla goes on to have ascorbic acid and calcium disodium EDTA to protect the flavor. So at the end of it, Pepsi Vanilla has a total of 11 different ingredients, probably 12, and Pepsi Ice Cream has only 6. Very basic. Now, on every single product that has ingredients listed, the higher up the ingredient is on the product, the more of it there is inside the product. And that is exactly the case with Pepsi Ice Cream's artificial vanilla flavor and Pepsi Vanilla's vanilla extract. Pepsi Ice Cream has more artificial vanilla flavor in it than Pepsi Vanilla has of the vanilla extract. And because they used artificial vanilla flavor in Pepsi Ice Cream, they could have really taken their time to come up with the best chemicals and combinations to make the vanilla flavoring as powerful as humanly possible. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why Pepsi Ice Cream turned out to be a bit sweeter than Pepsi Vanilla. So at the end of the day, is Pepsi Ice Cream actually sweeter than Pepsi Vanilla? Yes. There you have it. I want to give a huge shout out and thanks to my buddy Joel Nert. He's the one who actually lent this can to me so I could do this video. If it weren't for him, this video would not have even been possible today. So huge shout out and thanks to you, Joel. I'm very grateful. I hope this helped out some of you that came across Pepsi Ice Cream online. Now you know the truth, and the internet is not lying. It's not a rumor. It is absolutely true. Pepsi Ice Cream is sweeter at the end of the day. Thank you for watching.